Hello everyone, this is Ambitious Painter and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Hey there artists, today we are diving into the art of drapery. Have you ever wondered how to make your clothes look natural in a drawing? Drapery is all about understanding how fabric falls, folds and flows around objects or people. It's the perfect way to add life and movement to your art. So, grab your pencils and let's get started. Before we jump into drawing drapery, let's talk about why knowing human anatomy is so important. To draw realistic folds in clothes, we need to understand what's underneath, the muscle and bone structure. Anatomy helps us see how fabric wraps around the body, creating tension, flow, and natural folds. It's like building a house. You need a strong structure before adding the finishing touches. So let's learn both to make our art truly stand out. Alright, so here I have drawn a piece of cloth that's hung up on a nail or pin. Let's break it down. The tension point is the key here. It's the spot where the cloth is pulled or pinched, causing most of the folds to form. In this drawing, the tension point is right where the cloth is hanging. Notice how all the folds radiate from this point, creating a beautiful flow of lines and shapes. Now you can see both the front side and the back side of the cloth. I have shaded the back side much darker to create depth and help you see the difference between the two. To make the folds clear, I have added lines which show how the cloth moves in and out, almost like it's alive. Think of it like a snake's movement, fluid and curving. The inner parts of the folds will always appear darker, while the outer parts catch more light. By shading these differences, you can create the illusion of depth and movement in your drapery drawings. It's all about observing and imagining how the fabric flows and bends. Once you understand this, drawing drapery becomes much easier and more fun. Before diving into complex folds, it's super important to start simple. Begin by practicing with a basic piece of cloth, something that flows naturally like a curtain or a cloth draped loosely over a surface. Think of it as a cloth that moves like a snake, curving and flowing softly. This helps you understand the basics like how the fabric moves, how the folds form, and how light interacts with it. By focusing on these simple movements, you'll start to notice the technicalities of how the material behaves. Once you're comfortable with these easier forms, you can gradually challenge yourself with more complex folds, things like tighter tension points, layered fabrics, or intricate drapes. Master the basics first, and the rest will follow naturally. Let's talk about how cloth folds behaves depending on tension points. If there's just one point where the cloth is hung, all the folds and lines will flow straight toward that single point. Now, if there are two tension points, two areas holding the cloth, the folds will behave differently. They'll shrink and gather near those points while flowing more smoothly and spreading out between them. In areas where the cloth stretches, the folds will become less prominent, but at the points where it pinches or is pulled tightly, the folds will become sharper and direct. The angles of these folds will point exactly toward the hanging points. As you observe this drawing, notice how the folds are influenced by these tension points. Try to replicate this effect in your own work as you follow along with the video. As you can see, in this drawing, the two tension points are these where I have pointed the arrows. We can also try drawing this from a different angle. Notice how the position of the hanging point, whether it's higher or lower, affects the folds. The more the cloth is stretched, the more folds it will create. For example, if the hanging point is higher, the folds will flow downward more prominently. If it's lower, the folds will gather differently, spreading out or compressing based on the tension. Keep in mind that every change in the cloth's position changes the folds, and this alters the entire look of the drawing. Observe carefully and experiment with these variations in your own sketches. To understand folds even better, try this simple exercise. Take a piece of cloth and place it in different arrangements. Experiment by hanging it from a single point, 2 points, or draping it over an object. Observe how the folds form and flow in each setup. Then draw exactly what you see in front of you. This hands-on practice will help you understand how tension, gravity, and positioning affect the folds. The more you observe and draw, the better you'll get at capturing the natural flow of fabric in your artwork. Now let me show you how folds work when drawing a shirt, specifically the sleeve. When the hand is folded, notice how the fabric bunches up at the elbow. The folds become more compressed and concentrated near the bend, while the rest of the sleeve flows outward more smoothly. Pay attention to how the tension and compression create distinct folds and observe how these folds follow the movement of the arm. Watch carefully as I draw this and try to do it yourself to see how the drape behaves in different positions. I'm drawing the folds separately so you can understand them better. I'll mark the areas where the cloth is pinched and stretched so you can clearly see what I'm talking about. This will help you observe and apply these details in your own drawings. To make it easier for you to understand, I'm going to draw a curtain. A curtain is simpler than a shirt. When the curtain is held by a wraparound or tucked together, that the folds gather in one area. You'll notice that the folds are most concentrated where the fabric is pulled together. The rest of the curtain flows downward due to gravity. This will help you see how the cloth behaves and how the folds form in different areas. Watch closely as I draw this and try applying the same concept in your own drawing. When you're working on a memory drawing, especially when drawing a girl's skirt, I have noticed that some students simplify it into just a triangle shape. While this might work, adding more folds will make the drawing look much more natural and realistic. The folds will give the fabric depth, making your drawing more visually appealing. This attention to detail will not only enhance your drawing, but it will also reflect your ability to study and represent fabric in a thoughtful way, helping you improve overall. See how much better it looks with all the folds added in. The details make the skirt stand out more and give it a realistic feel. With the folds, the skirt becomes more dominant in the drawing, capturing attention and showing how much more depth and life it brings to the overall piece. The same thing applies to drawing a shirt or a t-shirt. Simply outlining the shape may not always bring out the full effect. No matter how challenging it might seem, adding creases and folds to the fabric will make the drawing come alive. The folds create contrast and depth, making the drawing more engaging. People will appreciate the effort, and as you color, you'll enjoy the process much more, seeing how the folds and details enhance the overall look. I hope you now understand the subject better and see the importance of these small details. These little things can truly elevate your work. Let me know if you found this video helpful and if it's made a difference in how you approach drawing folds and fabric.